All right, hello everyone. So here we will give you an example on how to solve the inequality. All right, so this is the inequality now. So the example is x squared minus 10 is greater than 3x. So that is the inequality. So it is inequality because it's not actually an equal sign there, right? There's like greater than. So it is the inequality, all right? So if you are given with an inequality and you solve for the inequality, the first step that I would suggest is this. I want you to rewrite in a standard form. So what is a standard form? The standard form is when you rewrite everything and one side would be 0. That's the standard form. So that means you need to bring all terms to one side and then the other side must be 0, like this. So you put 3 on the other side, combine it with the rest of the terms, and then the other side must only have a 0. So that is what we call a standard form. So you can write it like this, or you can also write it from the highest to the lowest. Highest to the lowest meaning the highest exponent then to the lowest one. So the highest exponent is x squared, so you write it first. Then put 3x next because 3x is x to the 1. And the last here would be the constant 10. And then, of course, the other side would be 0. All right? So you write it from the highest power to the lowest power. And then the other side is 0. So greater than 0. My question is, why do we have to write it in a standard form? Why? Why is that some professors would actually require you to write it first in a standard form? So the answer is because it is actually easier to factor an expression that equals. And once it's factored, we can figure out where it's positive and where it is negative by looking at its zeros. So it is actually easier to factor them if they are in a standard form, right? You can visualize it if they are in a standard form. So that is the reason why we rewrite the expression into a standard form. All right? So that is the reason why we have to write it in the standard form. So we now have, by writing it in a standard form, we now have something that is quadratic. As you can see, it's x squared minus 3x minus 10. The highest power there is 2. And in a quadratic equation, the highest power is 2. That is the requirement. If it is 3, that is not quadratic at all. Quadratic equation will only have the maximum power of 2. That means we will have 2 values of x. All right? So here, after rewriting it, we come up with a quadratic of x squared minus 3x minus 10. So what we can do there is we will try to factor the quadratic. We factor the x squared minus 3x minus 10, right? Factoring the quadratic. You can use, of course, the other methods, but this is the method that we will use now. If you want to use and review the other videos which we have posted before, where how we solve quadratic equations, we have 3 methods. The first method that we introduced was factoring. The second method that we introduced was solving the quadratic equation using completing the square. And the third method that we introduced was the quadratic formula. So here we will factor the quadratic equation. So here we have to ask what two numbers when multiplied to 10 will multiply to negative 10, and when you add it, it will be negative 3. So two numbers. So when you multiply those two numbers, it will give you the last term, which is negative 10. And if when you add those two numbers, you will add it and it will total to negative 3, which is the middle term. So what numbers are those? The numbers are negative 5 and 2. All right, because when you multiply negative 5 and 2, it will give you negative 10. And when you add negative 5, you add it to positive 2, the answer is negative 3, which is the middle term. Therefore, our numbers or our pair of numbers is negative 5 and negative 10. So we have like this, negative 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 plus 2, and negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. All right. So this one will factor into x minus 5 and x plus 2. Right? So the inequality would now become, so this is now our new inequality. We simply change, so we change this into the factors now of x minus 5 and x plus 2 greater than 0. We already factor this, so we change it to x minus 5 and x plus 2 greater than 0. So what would be the next step now? Now that we have factored it, and it is now something like this, it looks like that now. The next step is this. I want you to find the boundary points. Boundary points are where the expressions equals 0. All right? So we have x minus 5. If you equate it to 0, so if you equate this to 0, it would give you x equal to 5. If you equate x plus 2 equal to 0, it would give you x equal to negative 2. Now what happens is, these 2 points, 5 and negative 2, would actually split the number line into 3 intervals. So imagine now a number line. Here's the number line, all right? So we have 5 and negative 2. So negative 2 would be somewhere here. That would be negative 2 here, right? And 0 would be somewhere here. And then 5 would be somewhere here, right? There's 5 over here, right? So it actually divides the number line into 3 intervals. So the number line, because of 5 and negative 2, the number line is now divided into 3 intervals. The first interval is this interval here. The first interval is from infinity, negative infinity, to negative 2. So this is the first interval. The second interval is from negative 2 going to 5. Right? And the last interval is from 5 going to positive infinity. Therefore, 5 and negative 2 divided our number line into 3 intervals. The first interval is from negative infinity going to negative 2. The second interval is from negative 2 to 5. And the last interval is 5 going to positive infinity. So we have now 3 intervals. So these intervals, remember, these intervals come from the 2 boundary points. All right? Because we solved the boundary points, and then we think about the number line, and then we realize that those 2 boundary points produced 3 intervals. All right? So, because we drew a number line and we marked the points negative 2 and 5, and we found the 3 intervals. So, as you can see, it's from negative 2, then between 2 and 5, and then 5 to infinity. So each section has a different combination of signs for the factors. So the factor sign is constant inside each section. So what we will do now After realizing that we have three intervals, what we will do now is we will test 1 point per interval to check if it is true or not. Because this is the original inequality, right? This is the original inequality. We will now test each interval, if each interval would indeed satisfy the original inequality. All right, remember the three intervals? We have three intervals here. These are the three intervals. These are the three intervals. This one. We will now test each of the interval and check if this interval would satisfy the original inequality. All right, so this is the original inequality, right? We will now test the first interval. The first interval is this, right? From negative infinity to negative 2. That is the first interval. Let us pick any number within that interval. Let me pick negative 3. Yes, I can pick negative 3 because negative 3 is between negative infinity and negative 2. So just pick any number within that interval so we could test it. Okay? So I selected negative 3. What I will do is I will substitute now negative 3 to the original inequality. All right? So see, as you can see in here, I substitute this. So this is the original inequality, right? This is the original equality. X minus 5, x plus 2 is greater than 0. All right? So I will now substitute negative 3 to x. So it will be negative 3 minus 5. The answer is negative 8. All right? So the next one, I'll substitute here. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Remember, I need to multiply both, right? So that would be negative 8 times negative 1. So negative 8 times negative 1. So negative 8 times negative 1 is 8. It is positive. Huh? See? Negative 8, because the first one is negative 8, the second one is negative 1. So negative 8 times negative 1, the answer is positive. Right? So it is positive. All right? So, therefore, in negative infinity, so in the first interval of negative infinity to negative 2, the inequality is indeed greater than 0. So it is correct. Right? Because negative 8, another positive 8, is indeed greater than 0. Remember, this is our original inequality. X minus 5, which is actually negative 8. Then x plus 2, which is actually negative 1. So negative 8 times negative 1, it's positive 8. Is it greater than 0? Yes, of course. Positive 8 is greater than 0. Therefore, we can conclude that the first interval of negative infinity to negative 2 is correct. It holds. It indeed fits, it fits the original inequality. All right? Now we will test the second interval. What is the second interval? The second interval is this, from negative 2 to 5. And then we will pick any number between negative 2 to 5. Oh, let's just pick 0, because 0 is actually a number in between negative 2 and 5, right? In the number line, if you look at the number line, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 is in between negative 2 and 5. So we will pick 0. What we will do now is we will substitute 0 to the original inequality. All right? If we substitute it to x minus 5, so 0 minus 5, the answer is negative 5. It's negative, right? So let us substitute it to x plus 2. So 0 plus 2. The answer is positive. Remember, we need to multiply it. Negative 5 times 2. The answer is negative 10. Now, Does it satisfy the original equation? The answer, no, it does not hold, because negative 10 is not greater than 0. See, it says here, greater than 0. No, it is not greater than 0. Negative 10 is less than 0, right? So therefore, the interval of negative 5 and the interval of negative 2 to 5, or the second interval, does not hold. So it does not satisfy at all. So let us test the last interval. The last interval is 5 to infinity. 5 to infinity. Pick any number between 5 to infinity. Or I will pick 6, because I could pick any number beyond 5. So that would be 6. And then substitute it to the original inequality. So it would be 6 minus 5. The answer is 1. Then the other one is 6 plus 2. The answer is 8. Then multiply 8. 1 times 8 is 8, or positive 8. Is 8 greater than 0? The answer is yay! Yes, of course. Therefore, the third interval, which is 5 to infinity, holds. It holds. It is correct. So, among the 3 intervals, only the second one does not hold. The first interval holds. The third interval also holds. Only negative 2 to 5 is not included in our answer. So our answer then, our final answer for the inequality would be anything from negative infinity to negative 2, because it holds, right? And the next one would be from 5 to infinity. So from negative 2 to 5, it does not hold. It's not included in our final answer. So the solution would be, the solution is the intervals where the product is positive, or it satisfies the original inequality. This is the first interval, which holds. This is the third interval, which also holds. And you put a union there. That is very, very, very important. Place a union there. So it would be this union this. That would be the final solution. All right. See, that's the solution now. Union. Why do we need a union here? So because that is really the solution, right? This is the solution from the first interval and the third interval. So it means that any number less than 2 works. Any number greater than 5 also works. But numbers between negative 2 and 5 will not work. So only in these 2 will the answers be correct. So the solution is actually 2 separate chunks on the number line, not one continuous chunk. That is why we are using a union, because we actually have 2 separate chunks of solutions in the number line. The union symbol simply says you take everything in the first chunk, which is the first interval, and everything in the second chunk, which is the third interval, and then you put them together, because that is actually your final answer. See, the first chunk and the third chunk, first interval or the third interval. So the answer would be all x values in either of those intervals will satisfy the inequality, right? Any values within those 2 intervals would satisfy our inequality. All right? It is easy, don't you think? All right. If you have questions, more questions, just leave a comment below. All right? Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please please follow me. All right? All right. Hope to see you again in the next video. Bye.